The new school principles of learning. It's actually a book about human behavior. But really, why do schools fail these days? Schools are teaching to teach kids how to be adults in the proper way, to let some slip through the cracks, and other people, they just haven't found what they're supposed to do yet. Maybe, supposedly. And that's because those schools don't actually assess those children's potential to know what they could be good at, or who they should be, or who they are. They just give them tests. And everybody knows that people who test people all the time usually end up being bad people, because if you test somebody to see if they're a good person, instead of finding out the natural way, and that's just through observation, then you're not being a good person yourself. You're being a bad person, and they'll probably know that. I mean, I knew that when somebody tested me for no reason. I was like, wait, why are you testing me? And then I realized, oh, it's because they're a bad person, because I'm way too good of a person to do that to them. Thus, telling me that, wow, I figured out that answer, yet they don't even know they're a bad person, or maybe they do, but they use it as an excuse to bully people. And that's not cool, and that's what schools do a lot these days too. High school, middle school, and grade school, or whatever it's called, preschool, and college. Maybe I'll put it in my Seriously Pissed at Education book, a book of penis and vagina jokes. You can't have one without the other, or, I don't know if I should say a book of dick jokes, but either way, it doesn't matter, because it's a funny book, a book of jokes, like my book of shit jokes. And that one's coming along. So, the new school principle is this. Instead of giving people tests over and over again to see how smart they are, or to teach them stuff, we decide to find out what kind of person they are by observation. Observing them enough to where we find out, oh, they're not that bad of a person, but how do we know what the fuck they're doing? Oh, my bad, language. How do we know what they're actually doing instead of just misinterpreting it through whatever, and who knows? The point is, what would they be good at? What are they qualified for? And how can we make that happen instead of hindering them along the way, pretending that they're bad people, and instead of not really being aware of who they should be, what they should do, or any of this? And I said, well, you can quit pretending to be a good person yourself, or a bad person, and quit assuming, and just actually treat them like themselves, for one thing. And that comes down to, like, not knowing who that is. Since I don't know who that person is, I just don't assume anything and let them be themselves. It's kind of like when you're young and somebody decides to teach you their messed up method of what they think is cool, and not tell you what true cool means. And that means it's cool if you think it's cool, but another person doesn't have to think it's cool for it to be cool to somebody else. And if you need them to agree with you, then it's probably not cool. All right? That's the truth. But back in the day when we were kids, they tried to tell me, oh, well, I listened to heavy metal music because I thought heavy metal music was cool. Before that, I listened to my parents' classic rock with them in the car and stuff, back when they had the tape deck thing. And then all hell broke loose with these MP3s and stuff. Now we got this crazy shit. But I'm just saying, this fact has led us to understand that the world's different because it's rapidly changing and evolving. Because of that, people haven't really found their niches sometimes in this new world of, hey, look at all these trees. I mean, my God, beautiful nature preserve, right? And yet, I don't know, I'm just here babysitting a bear. Hey, bear. She doesn't get in trouble. I'm just making sure those other humans don't kill her or eat her or something. They got bad habits. My bear friend, it's like we're related somehow in spirit. I didn't transform into a bear and have sex with her mom and that kind of thing. I never could do that. I'm just a normal guy. And if I could, wow, that would be amazing. I would be just like impressed. But you can't really like marry a bear or something. It's more procreation, like wild animal thing. Like, you think their fathers stick around and stuff? Yeah, right. They're off somewhere, either eaten by the mom because she had worms, and was so hungry that she ate the male, or, running off trying to score some other bear, because they just have as many kids as they can usually. Dang. Well, whatever. Anyway, she mimics people because she's one day trying to catch a human to keep as a pet so he can feed her in case of starvation. I'm not that guy. I'm a babysitter. There's a difference. And yet, I could be that guy. But I'm just the guy to let her know, hey, I'll let you know if there's a cool guy around, but come on, chill out. You're only 2. Quit mimicking me. You don't even know what that means. I'm your babysitter. I know. I'm the guy who makes things. I make fire. I protect and all, but like family, good people. That bear isn't necessarily stupid. They're smart enough to mimic human words. And yet, should I be talking about this? I don't know, but I would kill somebody for that bear because literally, that bear belongs here. It's her home. I'm her guest. She's my guest type of thing. But it's more like, hey, I love the woods type of thing. And, it's all good. Let's say I'm not going to argue with the fact that I'm a very, I wouldn't say dominant man in terms of this kind of thing, but the human male, the primate, man, Homo sapien, whatever the heck he's called these days, is a very dominant species of being. They literally used to just pick up clubs and and smash other humans until they died. We were like monkeys back then. Just, you could observe them and say, damn, they can fight. But they were also really tough too. It's called lacrosse, I think. Anyway, we need to find what people are meant to be doing in order to teach them properly in this new school form of learning. How are we supposed to teach people if they don't reach their true potential because they decide to drop out of school because their schools are so lame in terms of their curriculums, and also like providing jobs and actually being useful in how they help people become better people, the people they're supposed to be, whatever that is. What about the people that fell through the cracks, It's an imperfect system, but there should be another formula for knowing what a person is supposed to do based on observation and actual observation and knowledge who that person is. When we apply these principles, we understand that, hey, I'm a storyteller, musician. I like to assess situations of learning, knowing that other people have put me through weird tests before for no reason. Not knowing that I'm just not that type of person that needed to go through that. But the good part of that is, there could always be a good part to anything if you look at it right. I have come up with this new school learning principle, or new school principle of learning. And it's just talking about why it's better to understand a person, not to know where they're going to mess them over, but to potentially hire them for whatever job or position that you might want them to have, knowing that they should be in the position that they most benefit everybody else, including themselves. This is key to having a better town and society wherever you're at. Like literally, most people are all right, It's like, even if you get mad all the time because people are lame and you got annoying voices in your head saying lame shit, it's probably just bears mimicking and whatever. And maybe you're a necromancer, got these dead people talking to you, but that's not supposed to even exist. Let's just say I'm a lot like Piers Anthony, because although he might be a powerful sorcerer, he also happens to be a very good author. And I have the same kind of INFJ personality type. I talk to myself when there's nobody around. Otherwise, I do it sometimes when people are around if they're not treating me like me. Because why not just have fun and be myself? I've always talked to myself. That's the point. If you don't know me, you don't know that. If you don't know that part about me, then you don't know me at all, and you might as well just quit pretending. All right, this book isn't about me, but it's about everybody. Wouldn't you rather have people knowing what they're supposed to do and meant to do in life to the point where they actually liked it? And it's not just one thing, it's an evolutionary path of thought. You can do more than one thing, and it's kind of like how life is like this already. We're going through these stages and phases to get on the path The path not of just least resistance, but least resistance to our best self. It's not necessarily, your richest self per se, or whatever, or your most intelligent, or your strongest self, but aren't all three of those things kind of the same? Your strongest self can lift a lot of weight, but they can also hurt you potentially if you do it wrong. And yet your smart self knows this. And then again, maybe your other self thinks it's a little vain to be extremely buff. Yet sometimes byproducts of who we are just related to other people's manipulation. And that's the thing that you can't be offended by manipulative people, but you can at some point not let them be a part of your life, or minimize it to the point where it doesn't bother you anymore or make you upset, so you can have your therapy and get there. I can't be myself around those people because they constantly get me wrong, either on purpose to aggravate, which is still not a good reason, or because they truly don't understand me because they never got to know me, type of thing. Kind of like my mom picking on me because she smoked some weed and forgot who I am, and thought I was going to pick on her and put her in a nursing home because she's forgetful and has Alzheimer's or something. And so I finally figured it out. I said, "Hey, Mom, you're a pothead, okay? I figured this out the other day when I was smoking pot. My bad, I don't smoke pot. That's what I'm saying. I said, you're a pothead. Don't smoke weed is what I say. Either way, it's just about people who smoke weed. You can't. It's an example. It's not like I would ever do it because I don't like to do drugs for any reason. Back when I was 19, I said, I'll never do drugs because I don't want to be like my parents. But therapy is therapy, and eventually, you got to get over yourself and being a hypocrite. And yet, if you're an adult, that's your decision. I said, you're a pothead, Mom? You forget stuff every day. Okay, so if you're going to be abusive about it, you're going to have to keep that in mind and quit blaming me for your half-hour moments of forgetfulness, pretending like I'm a bad person, pretending like I'm ever going to put you in a nursing home because you suddenly forgot who you were. Come on now. Yeah, right? You're just a pothead. You can't remember shit anyway. That's that shit memory you get when you ate shit as a kid the wrong way, and you didn't realize that, there's professionals that do that kind of thing these days, and you don't even need to know about that because it's just disgustingly judgy. You don't have to like something to know that it's not cool to be all judgy and stuff, because not everybody understands that you are a much better judge if you don't pretend to know, like, well, I don't like it, but I'm still not judging people that do. Other people might like it, and because of that, you wouldn't know. It's just, anyway, judging is more about understanding and understanding where something goes so you can find it more quickly. It's not about comparing with other people and making them hate themselves and those people. Comparisons aren't really real things. The only comparison you should ever make is between you and yourself the day before. And that's only to say, I was less buff then because I didn't work out as much, because I didn't get addicted to working out yet because of, bullies or whatever. And now that I am, I'm getting all buff. So now that I am, I'm stoked. Really, who knows? I like the way that we define whatever topic we're talking about to assess and find that subject more quickly, or maybe put some food on the shelf in a grocery store and find that I could find it easier because I knew what it was, and that was the judgment, like, what is this type of thing, not what is this compared to that. That's better over there. How would you know? Maybe it's better right now, but if you went over there and you found out that it's actually not, it's not anywhere near as good, because here's home or something, and over there is, who knows what's over there. Scary. The fact of the matter is we don't really make these assumptions with any kind of preference. We just say, I'm going to group good and bad and evil and all this on one side, and are good on one side and evil on the other side, and good and bad, and you know what I'm saying, on sides, when there's not really any such thing. We could all be living in the same world. Some of us be identified as, you know, as bad people based on who our ancestry is, or, you know, maybe you're related to Vlad and Taylor, or the devil or something, or the other person's related to Jesus. You never fucking, pardon my French, you never know, that type of thing. They could be related to weird, like, sharks, or the bear over there, for instance. They used to kill people all the time, and we used to kill them all the time, like hunting them and shooting them, and they, like, would eat people, they say, like that Timothy Treadwell. I mean, well, he didn't worm the bears, okay? So because of this, they were super hungry, so they ate him. Plus, he was weird as fuck. Me, my name's Tim as well, but I'm not here to, like, try and be all bear type. They don't do this, okay? You know, they're just some bear that hangs around that I make sure doesn't get in trouble, you know, or humans bother. But I literally know that they, at any time, because they're hanging around to hunt me and stalk me and kill me. That's basically what it's doing. And that's what I'm doing to it too, because I'm mirroring it. And only because it's there, not in any way other than the fact that, hey, why not? It probably never will, but even if it does, at least I'll be like, you know, I'll have the option of killing it myself and being that, you know, otherwise I wouldn't ever harm my bear baby, child, teen, whatever. It's a 2-year-old. I would never harm my bear, is what I'm saying, because I'm its babysitter, kind of. And yet, if it attacked me, but why would it? I'm the guy babysitting it. I'm not trying to do anything towards it. And it's she, you know, she's pretty cool. She just mimics words and stuff, doesn't know what they mean, kind of like children. I said, hey, you know, chill out, bear. You're kind of my friend because I'm a loner and I don't really have that many friends, but hey, I'm a loyal friend. I'm not going to let anything happen to you. This is what it's getting like for wild animals, or animals in the wild these days. They're literally having a fear of mankind taking over their homes and territories and just uprooting them and just, you know, violating that area and making it so they don't have a place. And maybe there's like, man, I gotta go somewhere. It's so warm everywhere else. I can't stand it. I'm going to Kodiak, Alaska because it's temperate here. And I said, me too. Thank God. It's not that bad in the winter too. I'm not moving to Fairbanks because it's way too cold. And although people are homeless there in Fairbanks sometimes, gosh, well, it's tough. It's tough being like that in Fairbanks. Let's just say I can't get along with the mother of some of my kids because she finds me too attractive, and I am always so gullible when it comes to women. Because of this fact, I just, you know, I'm just waiting until I'm more mature to find a, not better per se, maybe better me. Anyway, these facts don't change the fact that real family and stuff, you know, we don't blame other people or ask them for forgiveness because of reality. We say, hey, why are you upset at all? Are you okay? You know, do you need a hug? Because literally, it's not your fault that you were manipulated by some lame if you were. And that is pretty true. We go through a lot of weird stuff when we're in our teens. These weird things like puberty and not knowing what is going on and all this other stuff, not being used to all this stuff yet. Sometimes we're led into weird corners of anxiety and just either boredom or lame neighbors manipulating us to do things we wouldn't do for laughs or whatever. And I said, like when I woke up with that dick on my forehead, and I said, because I sleep with a blanket over my head, and I had a tiny spot on my forehead, on my hairline, to draw it. And I said, what? It's like I got dick on my mind or something. Gross, you guys. I thought of that recently, you know. Back then, this was like years ago. I had no idea I would think of that. And I was like, good one. But it took me like fucking 15 years to think of. Like, that's how long it takes me sometimes. And I didn't even know I was thinking it. It comes together. These new school principles, learning, they involve a different school of thought. The school of thought isn't focused on not knowing what you're going to do or where you're going. It's focused on knowing what you could be, and giving you those options, and not trying to take them away from you, or put you in the wrong kind of environment to where you never reach them. Really, it's up to you. Maybe you didn't know that you could be something that you could be, and that's why you didn't choose it if you had a choice type of thing. But someday you find out or whatnot. But there are people out there that know. But should there be a school specifically to assess these? And I said yes, it should be like this. We shouldn't have actual schools where people learn in middle school and grade and high school and all that other stuff. We should have individual sort of learning formulas, but not where you have to learn a formula, but just to where we find out what they would be best at, and yet we help them become who they should be. If we say, oh, well, come on, maybe basic grade school stuff, but like learning math and stuff, but technically you can learn all that stuff on your own if you decide to become a mathematician, and that's who should be learning math, right? So they learn all that stuff anyway, but they probably already know it. You probably already know it too, a long time, because you learn to count. What's the point of learning calculus if you never use it? Just the hope that somebody out there comes up with a new calculus formula and becomes a mathematician? Isn't that program there just to weed out the people who could be the next one that becomes that supposed genius or whatever that writes that formula or discovers something? Those discoveries will be made probably anyway, but shouldn't we make it easier for people to be that person that makes those? Who knows? And yet we should. I'm saying that why do we have those classes where people go through that, but they're not into that kind of thing, right? But if we knew they were into math, we could put them in math classes and be like, well, but if they're naturally gifted at it, maybe they end up finding out that they are good at writing formulas or something like that. But they could just be a computer or a game designer type job or curriculum, but that's more of a profit thing. Like, is that what they want to do? Who knows? Or a teacher, perhaps. It's like Piers Anthony said, he didn't know he was going to write books until he became an author years into his life after trying so many jobs that he finally gave up and was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And then he started writing books and he found out. And I said, whoa. Last time I was writing in college, I said, wow, this is pretty good because I got a good grade on it. Like, this is fun. This is easy for me. I said, maybe I'm meant to be a writer. And then I realized, oh, I have written some books. And I was like, I think that means I'm a writer. And I said, whoa, I have the same personality type as Piers Anthony, and I'm a writer. That means I'm meant to be a writer. How come it took me that long to figure it out? Because I'm just kind of that guy. Like, oh, what? So what? You know, it might take you a while to figure out what you're going to do. As long as you are allowed to get there, or as long as when you get there, you decide to take that step towards the path. Right? See, there's people teaching us all the time ways of being and learning since we're kids. And we got to choose some of them, they say. But we've already chosen some based on our interaction with other people or our dads and whatnot. Like, I don't know, I was a little confused when I first got there because CPS came and kept on harassing me to where I didn't talk until I was over 3 years old, but I could have before that. It's just they kept asking me so many questions that I didn't trust anybody. My parents seemed to be nice to them, and I was like, what's with these people? Like, it made me so mad. It's called selective hearing. I just ignored them. They said I was deaf or retarded or something. And later on, I became tone deaf one day when other people thought that they were talking about something else. And I said, you don't even know what they're talking about. But no. Selective hearing is where you ignore people because they're being lame, and you just, be yourself anyway. And then one day I found out, oh, my parents aren't humoring them. They want them to go away too. They're just being nice because my parents are good people like that. And they, obviously are worried, but they don't want them to take their kids away either. So they were trying to get me to say my first word, and I finally said like mom or dad or something in order to make them feel better because they were upset that I couldn't talk yet when I was over 3 years old. My sister could talk at like 9 months. So because of this, I felt bad, I felt guilty. So I said, gosh darn it, Mom or Dad, to myself in my head, I'll just talk for them. And then I did, and I was like, damn it, now I have to do chores and stuff because they'll make me now. But if I hadn't started talking, it would have been boring after a while, probably. Maybe not though. You never know. The thing is it wasn't meant to be that way on purpose, I say. Just, my God, CPS, I get mad thinking about them. That was just obnoxious. But I understand why other people want to take an interest in that person's life or people's lives and their kids because they're nosy people, really. But maybe they just want to take possession of them for monetary gains because all kids are worth money in some way, knowing that those kids are just human beings. The government at some point was, how much is a person worth? We're going to put a value on it based on their lifetime and expectancy and stuff and insurance. And I said, why not pi? Because pi is something that, like, I haven't written the formula yet, which is why they were a little PO'd at me when I said it. But basically it means, how would you know? It could be anything and everything. Like, it could be the richest person there, but they have the potential to be that anyway, right? You wouldn't know. Yeah, you can't just assume otherwise. So they say, why put a limit on it, right? I'm not going to limit myself to how much money I can make, and yet other people do. Sort of, you say, oh, give us a number value of how much money you think you make in a lifetime, and I say, I'm not going to limit myself, but other people might say, oh, I'll just give them a number value, but why? Why limit yourself to that when you could make, who knows, unimaginable amounts of money? I would say unimaginable amounts, like more than Googlies and stuff. Why? Why not? But that's setting a number on it, and I say, but that isn't what I would say based on, like, that's just, it could be that, but it could be more, Why limit yourself? So I'm going to try not to limit myself. So that people want you to choose sides in a battle against good and evil and say that it exists, when really those are systematic archetypes to help define our society so we can understand. Like understanding what a person is so we can find them more quickly and therefore know when we can use them for their best potential and good. But other people get competitive because they want to be the one that defines that. And because of this, they don't reach the true potential of that person at all. Because, wouldn't you say that they want to be in charge, and because of that, the person that would do a better job might not necessarily get that opportunity type of thing because of other lame sabotaging them? Who knows? But it doesn't make a difference because, or it does, but then again, in the end, a person will reach the true potential, probably anyway, given the opportunity. And those other people, let's just say, I put it like this. It doesn't make money to try and stop people from making money. And that is never going to be a good business idea. Which is why, if that's your business idea, then you should not go to business school. Because if you say, oh, I'm not part of that, as my business idea, since I'm not part of it, I'm going to stop it from happening. And I say, that is ludicrous and ridiculous. Why? Because you're going to piss a lot of people off. You could have made a lot of money. Instead of saying, oh, well, I'm also not capable of doing it. So it would probably be better for me to mind my own business and not stop people from making money. And I said, that happened to Victoria Christensen around here a while back when she ripped me off or whatever. And I was like, well, you could rip me off, but should you? No. Why? Because you could jump off a bridge and stuff, but should you? It just means people are better at business that decide to make their businesses work, doing the right thing, paying their employees who are probably like crippled, lazy-eyed people, highly functional, but the money they owe them, instead of paying off other people to make it look like it went away and being lame and stuff like that. I said, it's more impressive if people do the thing that I know is correct, like good business choices. I would say, hey, instead of saying, since I'm not part of it, I'm going to stop it from happening, you could say, oh, I'll just become part of it. And in this way, you don't stop it from happening, but you make money off of it too. And that is a better business strategy. However, hey, since your business strategy before that was, I'm going to stop it from happening, you can't be like that in the future. You got to start thinking logically that stopping people from making money is not a very smart idea, especially if it's legitimate. And if somebody gives you the opportunity to go legitimate from supposed unlegitimate type of enterprise or whatever, then you have to take that, because it's like this YouTube thing. I said, hey, YouTube, you might not understand that a lot of people want to use YouTube to become whatever artist or whatnot, or to reach potential customers if they're writing books, or formulas for writing books, because not everybody knows that you can write a book because somebody else is writing it and use their formula and write a book like it yourself, except your book. And that's pretty cool. It has to be something you're interested in, though, and it's a principle I'm working on right now. Yet, if other people extremely wealthy or whatever are just trying to make more money by doing things that you supposedly would find, well, how should you make money? I don't know. I guess you could do things that other people might frown upon, but should you? Probably not. It involves risk and that kind of thing, but a lot of people want to use it to reach their audience and become whatever they were meant to do. And if it's difficult, is that likely? I don't know. It just seems like there's a missing part to your marketing strategy. I'm saying, hey, making a person successful doesn't involve knowing what that is without knowing what they want, like what they define success to be. I would say, in order for a person to be successful, they probably already are anyway, but do you hinder them or do you help them because you want them to be successful too? How do you market yourself if your YouTube page is not like all the other YouTube pages where they're just selling products or other people's entertainment from Hollywood, and instead you have like books per se, like I write? Who knows? But I'm not complaining, I'm just saying. Although what I was saying earlier about getting a person right in terms of how they meant something is always going to be best. I know that you want me to look at potential, other meanings, and that's probably how you interpreted it when I was like, why did that make you say it was inappropriate? Like, I don't get it. See, I'm an innocent kind of guy like that. I don't always get other people's inappropriate stuff because for me it wasn't inappropriate. And a lot of the time, I haven't figured it out yet, but that doesn't mean it makes me mad. It just means, I haven't got the other meaning yet. Darn it, they must be bigger perverts than me, or whatever. And maybe they just were exposed to something more recently that reminded them of whatever it was that made them think that instead of the truth of, usually I go by context. And that seems to help. And it's not always that simple. All right, end of chapter 1. New school principle learning. Timothy Kimmel Jr.